Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our weekly field hockey chat with Penn State head coach Char Morett-Curtiss. Char, thanks for joining us as I get my head into frame there.
Yeah, no. I like these weekly meetings.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. And it's always good to talk to different one of the athletes every week to get to know a little bit about them off the field too, I think is important. And I enjoy the heck out of it. So I'm really glad to be doing it.
Yeah.
A weekend last weekend where Rutgers, they're a very good team, obviously. They played well, and you mentioned afterwards you felt like our girls didn't quite follow through on some of the things we had in place. Talk about the Rutgers game first, and then we'll get into Bucknell and the transition the team made from Friday to Saturday.
Okay, yeah, I think it was like a typical Big Ten matchup. I felt that, obviously we weren't at our best. Considering our former performance was the Northwestern game where I really felt that we controlled possession. So I felt like we were just a step off with some of our passes. And then I think defensively, we just didn't, really protect our circle the way we should have. So that was unfortunate. And then just a couple, their goalie played very well. Glatz is a top goalie for the U.S. under-22 team. So we knew that she was going to be, a presence in the cage for them. And, thought that we, just didn't have some composure moments in corner execution and around the cage. So, happy to see us come back, obviously on Saturday, a quick turnaround, but, sometimes just the way you like it. So you sort of can, move on. I think looking at our conference, it's, Northwestern lost to Michigan in overtime. I felt like they dominated the latter part of that game. So I just think it's going to, continue to be a battle within our conference. And, we need to make sure that we continue to grow this week with 2 non-conference games ahead of us.
Yeah, the importance of the 2 non-conference game, I like the idea of it because, one, it gets us back out on the road after having been home for a little bit. And these are 2 very good teams. I mean, Princeton's ranked 16th, whatever the heck that means. They're Princeton. Lafayette, too. They've won like 5 or 6 in a row. Friday, Sunday on the road. Talk a little bit about Lafayette, what you know about them, what you expect, and what you want to see out of your team.
Yeah, I think Lafayette is always hard to play there. It's a 7:00 game. It's a later game than what we've been used to, but we just really continue to concentrate on us. That was the big theme against Bucknell. This game is about us and the improvements that we need to make. And what we're working on this week at practice is really trying to be better as individual defenders. Felt like we got turned around a little bit, not only just Rutgers, but Bucknell as well. So if we can be better disciplined when we're containing, an attacker. And that's what Lafayette has. They have a couple kids that can really, skillfully get the ball to the circle and take some shots. So we really want to keep them pushed out towards the sidelines and the end lines. Like I said, they're always very, very tough at home. And, and then, like you said, Princeton is just a very, very talented team year after year. They lost a lot of players to graduation because they didn't compete last year, but I think that they're starting to get on stride. So, we'll take a closer look at Princeton once we get past Friday's game.
What is that, so will you stay in Easton Friday night and head over to Princeton on Saturday?
Yep, we'll stay there in Easton and get up early, head over to Princeton. We have a morning practice. I think it's like at 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Yep. Do a walkthrough there and then get ready to prepare for Princeton and play them on, on Sunday. It's fun going to Princeton because, so close to Philly, we get a great fan base. Generally the fans are packed on our side of the bleachers. So we look forward to that. A lot of alums have already reached out about coming to that game. So we look forward to a game at Princeton.
That's outstanding. Let's talk a little bit about how, over the course of the year, you've seen a number of players, including the young lady who's going to be joining us here in a little bit. They've seen their roles and their positions, where they're at on the field at any given time, kind of change and alter as the season's gone by and even from half to half in a game. Do you feel as the head coach like you're coming to more of a set rotation, a set kind of area, a lineup that you like where the girls are placed at a given time? And if not, is that opponent based?
Yeah, that's a great observation, Pat. And, generally when you have that spring season, you can, make those changes and see how players can adapt to different positions and different roles. And, not having that luxury last spring and being in the heat of the competition, we sort of kept our set lineup. So when we came back this fall, preseason is a blink, and next thing you know, you're into the heat of it. So, we felt that we wanted to get a little bit more established in our midfield, and felt that Elena could do that. She provides us an attacking option. She provides a support option in there, and she also provides a defensive presence. So that's, when we were out at Iowa, we just really felt that we need to make a change, and we did that actually during the game. And I think Elena's really found some comfort there. I think Kelsey's probably a little bit more comfortable on that right side halfback position, and Anouk is just a freshman. We put her in that deep center back position on Saturday, and I thought she did very, very well. We've been working her into that position throughout practices, but again, she's a freshman, so you just don't know how she's going to be able to, handle, maybe the stress of it, and the mental side of it. But she did extremely well on Saturday, so I think that we feel good about her positioning there.
And then another player who's kind of has played a little differently this year, Megan Reese. Her role has altered as well. Before we get to talking about Elena specifically, without going into specifics, because we don't talk about injury specific, can you give us an update on Sophia Menina?
Yeah, she subluxed her patella. So she got x-rays, fortunately no broken bones there. So, she's just going to rehab. We're hoping in another week or so that we can get her back. So, that's comforting to know that it's not, a season ending injury. She's, a strong girl. She actually had the same injury, I think, back in high school, maybe like freshman or sophomore year. So she said she sort of felt, the same feeling when she went down. So, Karen Walsh done a great job as our trainer, and we'll look to get her back hopefully sooner than later.
Outstanding. So let's talk about Elena Vos. Elena, being from the Netherlands, how did you find out about Elena during the recruiting phase?
There's so many, it's interesting because you look across the rosters of every opponent, and they range in numbers from, I would say right now, well, Bucknell probably have one, but most of the teams have anywhere from 4 to 10, 11. I know that Lafayette has 10 internationals. So, there's every day when I open my computer, there is, somebody from Germany, Belgium, Holland, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, pumping their players to get to the US for an education. So, one thing that it took me a while to get into the international game, and a lot of it was because I felt that some of the athletes that were coming to the different universities were only staying a semester or a year. This isn't a summer abroad program, or it's not a study abroad program. This is, we want the commitment to our team and to our institution and to the education itself. So, we were very fortunate when Aurelia came from Holland, and then Elena got in touch with us. I don't think she had a service, actually. I think she contacted us directly, and it was in December, and we did a Zoom, and just delightful conversation with just Elena. And then the next time I think we Zoomed, it was with her parents. And so it was great. Her dad was a manager of a club team. Her mother is a doctor. Just her brother plays field hockey. So we just thought it was a great fit for both parties. And she actually committed pretty early. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting is when we were looking to recruit Anouk's brother plays for the same club team where Elena's dad is married. So that was a great connection for Anouk to make a decision that here's another, player from the Netherlands that's on Penn State's team. So nice little network.
Yeah, no, and that stuff pays off. It really does pay off.
Yeah. And I think they also understand the importance of the education piece.
Right. They're coming for the 4 years.
Exactly. Yep.
And talk a little bit before we let you go. Elena, the person off the field, her personality, how does her personality stand out on the team from everyone else?
Well, it's just been so much fun to see her grow. She was deer in headlights, when she first arrived. sort of, we had her playing as a back position and, really felt some comfort there. And then, last year again, kept her on that sideline position. But, her, she's a student of the game. She understands the game very well. Off the field, she is you always hear her laughing, like on the bus. You always just hear, if someone's doing something, she's laughing. Like they play that flip game where they put the phone above their head and it's a word and you have to like talk about it. And sometimes that translation doesn't always mix with Elena, but she's always one to laugh about it. But she's quite the competitor, on and off the field, but she's a great student off the field. She does extremely well in kinesiology, or a very difficult major, and, has been dean's list every semester. And, when I ask her how the classes go, and she's, oh, they're hard. And then like, Elena, you just got straight A's, so, but no, she's got a great sense of humor, and she's very, very fun to be around.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Char, thank you very much for the time. I know you guys are getting ready to leave tomorrow after practice. Definitely excited for 2 games this weekend against 2 good opponents, and we'll be following along.
Sounds great. Thanks, Pat.
All right, you bet. And welcome. We're back now with Penn State junior Elena Voss joining us for our weekly chat. Elena, thanks for taking the time before practice to join us.
Thank you.
So, I want to talk a little bit about the season to date. Your defense, playing the back, but as this year has been interesting because we've been moving positions on the field. Your spot kind of changes, sometimes not just from game to game, but from half to half.
Yeah.
That's been challenging. Has it kind of been fun? Tell me a little bit about how you've approached that this year.
Yeah, I definitely started like more defensively this season, and I've always been that player, I would say. And then Char and I had a chat about trying to be a little more involved in the play.
Right.
So then I got moved up to a screen position, so kind of like in between the midline and the back line. And I think it's been really fun for me because I'm always the person like back there, and now I'm kind of like the person in front. So then I can like be an option for Kelsey Love or who else is in there in the center back position, kind of like the person that I sometimes like didn't have. So I'm trying to be that position to like connect a little bit, I would say, the midfield and the backfield. But yeah, it's been like fun, and like I'm trying to learn. I'm learning every practice and seeing what works best for the team and what works best against different opponents too. So yeah, I'm definitely like learning.
Yeah, this has been an exciting year. We're playing so well. Our losses have been against, like us, the best in the country, right?
Yeah.
How has this been? Last year was so odd given the reaction to the pandemic and everything. How has this been to be a part of a team that you guys seem to be having so much fun?
Yeah.
All the time. Winning and losing takes care of itself, but you guys seem to be having fun. So what has this year been like compared to last spring season?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely been so different. And I also feel like after every game, like even if we had a little less even if we were less connective, or we still come back to like our basic stuff, and that is that we have fun with each other and mostly like help each other out. I feel like that's been like a big part of us too. Like if you feel like someone is having a little bit of an off day or is not feeling too well, I feel like we're very connective in that sense, that everyone will care for that person. And then field hockey wise, we're all so like happy with each other, I feel like, almost.
Right.
And it's so fun to hear that other people see like that we have fun too. And also Char always emphasizes that like the one thing is to have fun with each other and just to pick each other up.
Yeah.
And I just feel like things have fallen into place this season, and of course, like if it goes well, it's more fun. So it's kind of like in that sense too, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's true. But I think that if you're connected individually as people, not necessarily just field hockey players, winning and losing is something that's kind of separate from it. You this year, and I think from February to now, are creating relationships that'll carry on for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about the fact that your season started in February. How are you holding up physically? This has been one long season. How do you feel?
Yeah. No, it's definitely been a long stretch. We've just had 2 off days actually this weekend.
Yeah,
So
that's what Char said.
so everyone was very physically, but also like mentally to just get sometimes like a little bit of rest. I think physically we always try to recover as well as we can, and we get educated on nutrition and stuff. Hydration is also very important. Yeah, I feel like it's been hard physically, but because it's hard for everyone physically,
Yeah.
it makes it so much easier in a sense that we're all kind of in this together and trying to help each other with that.
Yep. So let's academically, kinese or health and human development, or what's your major? Kinese.
Kinesiology, yeah.
What did you have an idea you wanted to do that when you got here? Were you really wide open and undecided when you got here?
No, I was pretty I knew what I was wanting to do. Definitely I was either like medical school I was always interested in, but then also the kines department here was very good.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in like the human body and how it all works. So yeah, and also it's really fun that we don't have a kines program at home, so it's very like sports related here.
Right.
And that's like really interesting, of course, for me. So it was like really fun to be able to do that, because I wouldn't have been able to do that in Holland back home.
Right. And what is the career goal for that? When you're done playing, whether it's done here at Penn State and play some internationally, what's the goal with that degree? What do you want to do 10 years from now? What are you doing with it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Uh-huh.
I would either want to be a physical therapist,
Right.
or I'd want to still pursue the medical school, because my mom is a general doctor at home.
Okay.
So I would want to kind of pursue that too. But that were like if I would get into medical school. So I try to like keep my options open a little bit, but it's definitely either those two.
Awesome. That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Goals, and those are noble goals indeed.
Yeah.
Did you get to get back home this summer?
I did. Yeah. I was there for 3 months.
Oh, awesome.
3 months. Yeah.
So you did get to recharge a little bit. That's great.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's great. All right. So field hockey and school aside, tell us and the people who will watch this here in a little bit, something about Elena that we don't know. Is there a passion, a hobby, some sort of, thing out there that we wouldn't know about Elena Voss that you think people should know?
Oh, yeah, I feel like that's always so hard because our lives are so much like
Busy, I know. But
field hockey and
right. Is there
Yeah.
something that you use to recharge away from it all?
I am very into movies, actually.
What kind?
Sorry.
What kind?
I I like sci-fi movies.
Yes.
Oh,
Love it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you can ask all my roommates, they're always like, what are we watching, Elena? Like it would always be me who like chooses the movie. I definitely think that's one of the things that I sometimes when I need some alone time too, I like just watch a movie. I'm not into the whole shows thing, like not for me. It's I'm more of a movie kind of person. But yeah, very into that. And music too, I would say. Like me and my dad always would send different songs to each other. Like we don't really like talk that much when I'm here and he's at home, but we'd always like send different songs and like listen to the things and then be like, oh, I didn't like that much, or like, oh, I love that song. I don't know, it's just kind of a way to stay connected without always asking like, how are you, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. What's the last movie you watched?
The last movie, Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, I know you got to get to practice. I really appreciate you popping in to talk with us. It's always great catching up with you players, and as usual, good luck this weekend. We'll be following along.
Thank you so much.
All right.